You're copying the quiet luxury aesthetic, and it's the reason your brand looks entry level. And before you come at me, yes, I do have a video about a quiet luxury strategy. Two completely different things. I'll explain the difference. But what I'm talking about right now is the aesthetic. The no logos, no branding, blend into the background look, and it is breaking your brand. Welcome. If we haven't met yet, I'm Mariah, an award-winning luxury brand designer and certified coach. And for the last 12 years, I've helped ambitious women build luxury brands that attract high-ticket clients. Not by copying what luxury looks like, but by understanding what luxury actually is. Because most entrepreneurs don't have a luxury problem. They have an identity problem. They're borrowing aesthetics from brands they admire instead of building a brand that reflects who they are, what they stand for, and the authority they've earned. And nowhere do I see this more than with the quiet luxury trend. So let's talk about it. Brand trend cycle, quiet luxury aesthetic. So let's define what we're actually talking about. Quiet luxury, the aesthetic, is minimal, understated, neutral palette, no obvious branding, no logos. It looks elevated at first glance, and there's a reason it took off. It feels sophisticated, it feels refined, but here's the problem. When we design luxury brands for our clients, the first thing I look at is what the market is doing, so I can make sure we do the opposite. Quiet luxury is a fashion trend, and fashion trends, by definition, have an expiration date. The fashion industry can afford to reinvent itself every season. That's literally the business model. But you're building a brand, a service-based business. You don't get to throw out your visual identity every time a new aesthetic trends on TikTok. So why are you building your brand on something that will be gone next season? Why quiet is the most damaging word in branding. Now, let me tell you what quiet actually does to a service brand, because this is where it gets real. Quiet equals forgettable. When you choose quiet as the descriptor for your branding, you are choosing to blend into a sea of competitors who all chose the same beige color palette, the same serif font, the same minimal layout. You are choosing to be indistinguishable. I see this in nearly every single audit I do. My clients come to me wondering why they're attracting bargain hunters, and the answer is right there in their brand. They chose quiet over commanding. And here's what most people miss. In fashion, quiet luxury works because the product does the talking. The craftsmanship, the fabric, the silhouette, that's what communicates value. The brand doesn't need to speak loudly because the piece speaks for itself. But a service-based brand doesn't have that. You are the product. Your brand has to speak before you do. It has to communicate your value before the discovery call, before the proposal, before you ever say a single word. So when your branding is quiet, it doesn't read as refined, it reads as uncertain. It reads as, I'm not sure I belong here, so I'll stay small. That is not a luxury position. That's an entry-level position. We don't build brands based on fads, period. I want you to type this in the comments right now. Always luxury, never quiet. If you take one thing from this video, it's that word. Quiet is the most damaging descriptor you could ever attach to your branding. Always luxury, never quiet. Old money brand identity, timeless versus trend. So if quiet luxury is the trap, what's the alternative? Old money, but not in the way you think. Old money is not a color palette. It's not yacht clubs and pearls and cream colored linen. That's the surface. When my clients come to me and we go into an old money direction, here's what we're actually building. We're building permanence. Old money says, I was here before the trend and I'll be here long after. It's timeless design. And more than that, it's an identity shift. The real distinction is this: old money earns its presence. Quiet luxury hides behind minimalism. One is confidence, the other is camouflage. Old money brands don't need to be loud, but they could be. They've earned the right to take up space. Quiet luxury brands are hoping no one notices they're in the room. Which one do you think actually commands premium pricing? Luxury brand misconception. There is no rubric. Now, here's where I need to be very clear, because some of you are about to run to Pinterest and search old money aesthetic mood board and do the exact same thing you did with quiet luxury. Don't. Old money is not the only answer either. There's a misconception I hear from our audience all the time that luxury has a specific look, a specific color palette, a rubric you can follow. If I just use the right fonts and the right colors, it'll look luxury. That is not how this works. Anytime you are following a formula, you are automatically not building luxury, because luxury, by definition, is about distinction. And you cannot be distinct while you're doing what everyone else is doing. When I design luxury brands, I don't start with a mood board of what luxury looks like. I start with who this brand needs to become. The aesthetic follows the identity, never the other way around. If you look at our portfolio, and you can find it in the link below, you'll see luxury brands that look nothing alike. Different palettes, different typographic systems, different visual languages. Some colorful and bold, others quiet and refined. Because each one was built from the inside out, from identity, not from an aesthetic checklist. Luxury doesn't have one style, it has one standard. And the standard is be unmistakable. Quiet luxury strategy versus quiet luxury aesthetic. Now, I promised I'd address this, and it matters. I have a video about a quiet luxury strategy, and I just spent the last 7 minutes condemning quiet luxury. So let me be very clear about the difference, because they are not the same thing. The quiet luxury aesthetic, no obvious branding, no logos, minimal design. This is what I'm talking about today. It makes your brand forgettable. It erodes your brand equity. It turns you into a commodity. But a quiet luxury strategy, this is completely different. This is a positioning strategy. It's about what your brand communicates before you ever say a price. It's the price signal. It's how your brand does the heavy lifting of communicating. This is what you're worth, without you ever having to justify or explain. I cover that fully in my video on attracting high ticket clients, and I'll link it below. But understand, a strategy is about perception and positioning. An aesthetic is visual. One of these builds your brand, the other waters it down. The strategy, powerful. The aesthetic, damaging. So don't confuse the two. Brand positioning shift: visual, voice, identity. So if you've been building a quiet luxury brand and you're realizing it's capping you, what now? The shift is all three: visual, voice, identity. Not one, not two, but all three. Visual: your brand needs to command attention, not hope for it. That doesn't mean loud, it means intentional. Every element, every color, every type choice, every layout decision should say, this brand knows exactly who it is. Voice: stop justifying, stop softening. The language of quiet luxury is, we believe in understated elegance. The language of real luxury is, we are the standard. Do you feel the difference? One is asking for permission. The other is setting it. Identity. And this is the biggest shift. You stop being someone who aspires to luxury and start being someone who decides what luxury means for your brand. You stop copying aesthetics and start building from identity. My clients don't come to me for a new logo. They come because they've realized they've been building someone else's version of luxury, and it's time to build their own. If you're watching this and realizing you've been building someone else's version of luxury instead of your own, that's actually good news. Because once you see it, you can change it. A few years ago, I found myself completely booked out with clients who had invested 5 and 6 figures to work with me. And after years of people asking me how I did it, I decided to break it all down in a complimentary course called 5-Figure Clients. Inside, I'll walk you through the exact positioning, branding, and client attraction shifts that helped me go from competing for clients to becoming the obvious choice. It's completely free and the link is down below, so go enroll now. So let me be very direct with you. Quiet luxury is a trend, and we do not build brands on trends. We build them on identity. Remember, always luxury, never quiet. So if you want to understand what happens when your brand signals the wrong thing, not just quiet, but cheap, I just released a video on exactly that. It's called Your Brand is Whispering Cheap and You Don't Even Know It. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up below and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.